Hi, Stuart from DeckSand. Today I just want to talk about a few fundamentals and the benefits with the DeckSand brushes. Now, there's no punching of the nails or counting the screws, which is a big benefit for time. It's a fast and effective way of removing the coatings. It's also very effective on cup decks. Now, when you're finishing with a 46 grit with one of the brushes, you'll leave the timber grain nice and open. It's ready for the decking oils to penetrate easily. There's also a lot less removal of coatings and timber, so there's not as much wastage to dump. And the other biggest benefit is most of you guys have already got a machine, so you don't have to spend 12k on investing on a purpose-built decking machine. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is a walking speed, which is probably the most critical thing. So you'll generally be going about half the sanding speed of what you would on internal floors using belts. But you'll also be able to try a few different speeds, going both backwards and forwards, and find out what the best thing is for the deck that you're on that specific day. And that will depend on the species of the timber and how much coating, how much has been exposed to the sun, for example. Now, you'll generally remove more coatings when you're going backwards, so you'll sometimes find that you won't take as much off going forwards, but you can play around with drum pressure and also your speed. So most jobs you'll find one pass up and one pass back will get the majority of it off, and you might have to do a bit of touching up here and there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start the machine and I'll demonstrate a bit of coating removal with walking speed. Okay, so now you can see the results are going half speed. It's been great coating removal. That was one pass up, one pass back, and it's ready for coatings now. Okay, so now we're going to go twice the normal speed that I would, and we're going to see how effective that is at removing the coatings. Okay, so now we're looking at how effective it has been, and it has actually been quite effective at that double speed, but not quite as good as this. So definitely play around with your speeds and see what the most effective one is for your job. Okay, so now we're going to talk about drum pressure. Generally I'll run this at sort of 3/4 to maximum, and then I'll just play around in both directions with how much thumb and finger pressure I put on the actual clutch. So another thing that you'll just be playing with, difference going backwards and forwards, and find out what the most effective way on the day is for you. So what we're finding is most guys seem to be having both the 46 grit and the 24 grit in the van, and that gives you the option to, once you get to a job, just do a couple of square meters with each one. Sometimes the 24 might be more effective if it's old paints or there's a lot of dirt and it's entrenched, and that seems to pick it up better. Sometimes a 46 might be better at getting certain coatings off. So it is one of those things, definitely try both. And even throughout the same deck, try both. We've had that happen on certain jobs as well, where what we thought might have been the most effective wasn't. So the best thing is let the brushes do the job, and then you can assess what the best method is. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is. A lot of guys would choose to have adapter kits in both of them ready to go. It is only 4 bolts, but this will save you a bit of time. So this has got reverse thread, so off it comes, nice and easy. Just be careful on decks. You might sometimes choose to want to put a bit of MDF or cardboard underneath, just so you can't lose your washer or your keyway as well. There we go, that's sort of nice and easy. It's also worth always putting a bit of grease or WD-40 on that actual shaft to make sure that it's actually nice and free. That might have had a bit of dirt on there then. go, we'll tighten him up. Alright, so now we're going to test, next to our other test areas that we've done here, how effective the 24 grit is compared to the 46 grit. Okay, so as you can see, the 24 grit wire was nowhere near as effective at removing coatings on this particular deck with this particular coating. So definitely worth trying both, and then you can make a decision which one you want to go with on the day. But like I said, keep testing that as you go through. Some decks might be more weathered and soiled at one part, and then closer to a house, for example, we had one where the 46 grit was much more effective at this end. The 24 was more effective at this end. So hopefully that helps. All right, so now we're going to talk about going cross grain with the deck brushes. It is a good effective way, particularly when there is a wall, for example, along here, and when you're coming this way with the grain, you won't be able to get too close to it. So back off your drum pressure and your hand pressure and just take off with what you can, and that will definitely make the job a bit quicker when you do come along and do your end grain. So some guys will do this at the start of the job. They'll go around the perimeter where they can, cut in the edges, and then get as much of that done, and then allow the big machine to come through after it. Then a combination of orbitals and triangle multi-tools to sand what you can't get this close to. Okay, so you can see where we've got a bit of cross scratching going on here. A lot of it was removed once I did go long grain, and now we'll go over it with the handheld burnisher with a 46 grit, and we'll see how that can get it out as well. And then I'll use my little triangle sander to get in there, the multi-tool. I normally have an orbital sander as well and use a combination of the three. Right, so you will always notice a little bit of difference between the finish on some decks more than others when using the handheld brush to the big machine, to your orbital, or to using sandpapers. But generally, if you feather that out about 150 mil, you will end up with a very good finish, and there won't be a noticeable stop and start between papers and brushes. And sometimes it's unavoidable just because of the nature of decks, balustrading, and all those things going around posts. But generally 2 or 3 coats of decking oil, and that all just marries in. So, okay, now we'll use the machine and I'll show you what it can do. Okay, the combination of both the 24 and the 46 grit has been really effective at removing a wide range of coatings on at least 40 decks over the past 2 years. Most of the time it's just one pass up, one pass back, and that's getting rid of 95% of the coatings. Overheating of the decking brushes will dramatically reduce the life of your brushes. So I don't recommend using noise cancelling headphones. You want to be able to hear your machine working and not overheating. Now, hopefully these tips that we've done in the last few minutes on this video have really helped out with the different techniques, and most of the time you really will, one pass up, one pass back will get the job done. And I've worked with a number of local contractors throughout this project, and they've all really said this is a real game changer for them compared to using the traditional sandpaper belts on their machines. So hopefully this can help out with your business, and yeah, all the best and happy decking.